All right. We are here and we got one to go. Can we get to let me make sure that you're all still just as energetic. Give me a hell yeah in the chat box. Throw some hands in the air. There we go. Let's go. We got all different kinds of emojis. I love it. That's awesome. You guys are all engaged. I appreciate you guys. I know it's not easy. I want to give you a quick reminder that on the back end of this, we got the networking hour where you're going to be able to leave the stage here. You're going to be able to go into the networking room. And in the networking room, it's just like being in the conference. I mean, imagine yourself, you're in the exhibitors hall, you got the table there, the table there, the table there, and you're like, yeah, I want to talk to those people about that topic. Hey, I want to avoid that topic. I want to see that one. So you're going to be able to, in that, you can just kind of you'll see your little circle on a map and you can see other people's circle. Click on the circle where you want to go and sit with people at a table, and you'll be able to jump on video with them whenever you want to. You just exit out of there, it'll take you back into the lobby, and then you can go click on somebody else's circle and sit at as many tables as you can. But don't forget, the most important part of all of these seminars is connecting with people, guys. And I've got to make sure that you all take the value away that you came in for. So without further ado, oh, we just lost her. There she is. All right. I'm going to introduce you now, Julie Marks. Guys, none of us like talking about regulatory stuff, right? Like if it were up to us, we'd all violate every regulatory policy. We'd skip permitting. We'd not pay taxes. We would just put our stuff on Airbnb and go rent it and have some freaking fun, right? But we don't want orange suits. We don't want to get yelled at. And we sure as hell don't want to lose our opportunity to host long term because it's how we make money. So Julie, she does a great job. I've done a little bit of my own research about the organization that she's heading up and leading, and all, making sure that everybody is understanding and informed about all the things that you have to do as business owners still in order to operate the right way. Julie, thanks so much for taking the time. Look forward to hearing from you here, and you'll see me back in a little bit, but let's go.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around to the end of the show here to talk about regulations. Just to make sure everybody can me, see my slides. Okay, great. Um, Thanks. So my name is Julie Marks, and I talk about short-term rental regulations all the time. I started as a short-term rental host in 2018 and literally have been fighting unfair regulations ever since that day. Um, I first began locally, where in the community where I was operating, showing up at City Hall, and eventually realized that there was no real organized representation for anyone like me in my entire state. So, 2021 founded a nonprofit association called the Vermont Short-Term Rental Alliance, and we've been growing and lobbying on behalf of vacation rental operators ever since. Since then, I've also gotten involved with the VRMA advocacy efforts. I sat on their Government Affairs Council for several years, and most recently have been a part of establishing a brand new initiative called the Right to Rent Collaborative. Um, and I'm very excited to share a little bit more about this organization with you, and then dive into um, what I see as the most important steps and actions that you can take right now to make sure that you can host long into the future. So, just real quick plug on the Right to Rent Collaborative, brand new association established last year. The entire goal of this organization is to provide state and local short term rental associations with the capital they need to advocate for policy solutions. So, this is all about funding vacation rental advocacy. And just a quick note of clarification. Um, we, as the Right to Rent Collaborative, or R2RC, commission with Rent Responsibly. Hopefully, everybody on this meeting has heard of Rent Responsibly and the great work that they're doing to help build community and advocate for fair regulations. But we hired them for association management and fundraising as well. So those are the three logos that you saw on the front slide. And so How this works, it's pretty simple. We fundraise and then we give that money to associations. So we have established grants that are designed to meet the needs of various stages in an association's life cycle. So we have funding available for starting a brand new group, getting you off the ground and established, reimbursing those initial costs to help you grow and go from relying on volunteers to actually paid staff positions. And then we have funding available for capacity building, attending events, professional development, again, hiring, and then, of course, legal action. We've all seen headlines of lawsuits, more and more coming into the courts. And so we need to be well equipped with funds to respond and fight back when necessary. And again, we've only been up and running for about a year, but already we've had 22 amazing vendors throw in um, a generous amount of financial support, and we've been able to give away over $100,000 already to 15 different associations. So really great progress year one, and very excited that year two and beyond will continue to grow. So, but what we're really here to talk about is how to navigate these changing and unpredictable times when it comes to short-term rental regulations. I'm sure many of you have heard this or felt this firsthand. Our housing affordability situation, especially in the U.S., from what I understand worldwide, is undeniable, and it's a huge problem. And so communities kind of are very concerned and looking for any way possible to try to address this housing affordability issue. Um, and so far, what we're seeing is just hundreds and hundreds of cities deciding, looking at short term rentals, maybe fairly, maybe not fairly, to really see if their presence in the community is going to move the needle on housing. Um, so, who here, I mean, quick thumbs up, or if anybody here has encountered regulations in their community yet. Okay, couple. Yes. Um, so even a lot of the times rules are made when you're not in the room, but what happens in city hall, in select board meetings, uh, does have a direct effect on your business. So we're going to take a quick pause and play a quick regulation trivia game. We've got four questions. So if you feel like you know the answer, just throw down A, B, C, or D into the chat. And then I will share the correct answer and just keep track of how many you get right. Okay, so question number one. Um, Most people know when Airbnb was founded, but what year was Verbo founded? Back in the day when it was known as VRBO. Ford Model T is a surprise. Yes, for anybody who gets all four right. Free cars, complimentary of David Cross. Okay, we see some answers. All right. For those who said 1995, you are correct. Verbo was one of the first, if not the first, online vacation rental booking listing platforms that came not far behind the dawn of the internet. And so this, again, is not, you all know this, not a new industry. Um, and yeah, but it has come a long way. Question number two, you ready? How many STR operators are there in the United States? You got A, quarter of a million, B, half a million, C, 1 million, D, 2 million. Okay. C, C, C. All right. Well, you guys, you know your stuff. All right. 1 million operators just in the United States. All right. Question three. How much growth in short term rental regulation have we seen since the pandemic? Twofold, tenfold, 25-fold, or 45-fold? Okay, seeing more C's. Unfortunately, we have experienced a 45-fold increase in short term rental regulations just since the pandemic. All right, final question. How many short-term rental associations are there in the US today? 10, 20, 30, or 50? Got some 10s, got some 30. Okay. All right. Well, the final answer is 20, according to Rent Responsibly. So, congratulations. Did anybody get all of them right? If you did, contact David Kraus for your free car, or just pat yourself on the back. But I really wanted to focus on these two major points. There has been a huge surge in local regulations against our industry over the past few years. And while there has been a pretty steady growth of associations over the past 5 years in response, we still have less than 50% of of the country covered in organized groups. But what if we had full coverage? What if 50 state associations were fully staffed, fully funded, and consistently collaborating and coordinating with one another? That's the vision because the true key to navigating regulations is just not doing it alone. You cannot do it by yourself. You cannot do it in a silo. It really is a team sport. And so the next few slides are really going to be me talking all about trying to convince you why you ought to join your association, start an association, participate more in your association, because this really is going to be the key that unlocks fair regulations in the future. Number one reason is these bad regulations. Without us showing up, without us at the table, we're seeing onerous rules, unfair taxes, bans that are probably illegal, threatening short term rentals everywhere. And we're fragmented. With over 1 million hosts and managers in the United States, we there's no reason why we don't have a more connected and organized network working together to uh, prevent regulations proactively. And the third reason is these associations are largely run by volunteers, and volunteers burn out. Um, Management companies haven't built in advocacy teams yet. So we need all hands on deck participating, because otherwise, that relying on volunteers or one or two people is just unsustainable. So, what can you do? Responding to regulatory threats is going to take several things. It's going to take your money, your time, your voice, and your action. Now, we all have different levels of these things, different amounts that we have to give, and that's okay because they all matter and they all are needed. And you can do different things at different times in different amounts depending on what's happening in your life or in your business at that moment. So participating is really the essential takeaway here. Not necessarily how much you pitch in, but just that you're pitching in one way or another. So participating with your dollar. Um, the Right Trend Collaborative has set up a very easy automatic system for you to donate $2 for every reservation that goes into funding associations. You can do that directly through your PMS if you use one, or set something up directly with us. Um, Join your state or local short term rental association. That usually requires a membership fee. these associations need your membership dues to function and keep their lights on. So please consider joining your state association. Lastly, with your dollar, think about who you're backing as local candidates. Who are the people running for office that are supportive of your property rights and vacation rental tourism? These are the these are the ways that you can use your dollar to really be part of the advocacy solution. And then there's your time. Again, volunteering with your association, maybe in a leadership role in the board of directors, maybe on a committee or a task force, maybe just handing out flyers and helping people become more aware that the association exists. Um, Monitoring public meeting agendas and minutes. I task tons of volunteers with this task all the time. It takes time to read the minutes and to scan the agendas and understand what's being talked about in your local governing offices. So just paying attention can be really valuable. And then attending association meetings and events, being part of that community, being present, showing up. Um, these are all ways that you can offer your time to show support and help move things forward. Participating with your voice. Not everybody loves public speaking, and I am one of those people. And showing up at a public hearing and standing in front of a stone faced counsel, while they give you 2 minutes to try to explain your entire life story is terrifying, but it's also very necessary. So I always encourage people to speak up at public hearings, attend these meetings. The more you go, the more comfortable you'll feel, the more, um, used to the process you will become, and you'll get to know the people who are actually making decisions that affect your business. But if public speaking isn't your thing, you can always submit written testimony to your legislatures and your local leaders. Writing is a really powerful tool, and it's essential for creating that library of public record, um, to make sure again that our interests are visible and recorded in these decisions. And then lastly, just changing the narrative in less formal, less legislative ways by writing opinion pieces for your local newspaper or sharing your story through your social media. There are lots of different ways that you can use your voice to start to educate those around you as to the importance um, of your hospitality business and also the ways in which you do and don't operate. And lastly, your action. So I think this has been, at least the first point has been probably hammered in throughout this entire event, but being a model for responsible hosting, being what it means to be a good neighbor, changing that reputation within the industry so that there's trust and confidence. This is what is going to kind of stamp out those fears and those perceptions that have led to a lot of these regulation proposals in the first place. And then, if you're going to be really bold, run for office. If you've never considered volunteering for your local planning commission, running for a local select board, city council role, um, maybe that maybe you have space for that. And being the decision maker at the table is absolutely going to shift the game. So show up and vote, but also don't forget to run for office as well. Okay, so all of that is to say that the key to long-term success is all about getting organized as a community. I have come to realize that advocacy is really only education, um, and educating the community. The more people you educate, then you start to build this coalition. And once you have this coalition that's centered around a consistent message, you have consensus. And that is key in order to get any policy solutions through the process. Um, so, my little advice for being an STR advocate is to just always remember that politics are local. So just engage locally in the communities where you vote. Make your biggest competitors your strongest allies. This is an area where there is no competition, there's only cooperation. So make sure you are forming relationships with people maybe you otherwise wouldn't, because they will end up being your biggest allies. Um, Become known in your community as a resource. This one is really huge. You want to be the expert, the known expert about everything short-term rental, everything hosting in your community to your local officials, elected officials, to your media sources, the reporters. They when they have a question about short-term rentals or they need to a piece of information or data, they should be coming to you. So make sure you become a known resource for them. Um, and this is really why state associations are just so critical for our whole industry's growth and credibility. Um, so my last little tip is really think about advocacy as an insurance plan and build it into your business. Regardless of what size business you have, this should be a line item in your operations and your expense sheet. How much time do you have to commit? Whose job is it going to be? How much are you willing to spend? Who is representing your interests in the state house? And make those considerations. Build that into your business plan because if you don't, you might end up paying more tomorrow, rather than investing in prevention today. So, wanted to give a quick shout out to those 22 vendors that are supporting associations and advocacy with their dollar through the Right to Rent Collaborative. This is a note, I guess, for a call to action for all hosts to hold vendors accountable for contributing to this effort as well. Whoever you use as a vendor, ask them if they donate to advocacy. Ask them if they are um, supporting and contributing funds to your state and local associations. And if they say no, ask them why not. And then get involved. These are some of the associations, not an exhaustive list of associations that are up and running and doing great work in the United States. The QR code will bring you to Rent Responsibly's directory, where you can find a full list of short-term rental associations and alliances globally that are on the radar, at least, of Rent Responsibly. So there's dozens and dozens more out there. So please make sure you're connecting with your association. And of course, if you don't have one or you can't find one, I encourage you to start one. And if you feel like you might be the person up for the task, you can get more resources either by contacting me directly. I've got my two hats, so my two emails there, Julie at R2R Collaborative or director at btstra.org. But there are tons of resources to help you get started by forming an association, growing an association, building community, advocating, both through Rent Responsibly and the Right to Rent Collaborative. So that is my spiel on
Julie, you
advocacy
lost me.
regulation.
You lost me at go run for office. Hey, no, that was fantastic. And just as a heads up, I did try the QR code. It says this QR code has been deactivated, just so you
Oh,
know. So I screenshotted all of your emails. I would recommend to all of you guys that are paying attention here to do that. Yeah, I love this. I think that's really important. I'm a member of the AZRT because Arizona is my primary market, and I think I think you hit it on the head with ask your vendors that are operating for you that you're using if they invest and donate and work with these groups, right? I think that if they invest in advocacy, I think is a way you said that. And I think that's really well done. And I think that's something that we should all, you know, Again, I don't think when we looked at the lineup, not to minimize this, Julie, right? I'm sure you hear this all the time. I think as we all looked at the lineup, we all said, "Ooh, weddings in our STRs, revenue management. How do we make more money? How do we do this?" Nobody probably flagged this as the priority. But guess what, guys? We've watched over the last few months, we've watched Airbnb implement all new kinds of social medias, 15%, all these things that are happening. There are so many efforts to make this as difficult, not so that you don't operate, but that you so that you elevate your operation. And I think what's important about all of that is they will. And if you haven't yet, guys, go break a rule, go break an advocacy rule, and let Airbnb find out. I promise you, you will find yourself in a pickle quickly. They will hold you accountable to this as a host. And so this should be important. This should be a priority. This should be something that you all really strive and include in your dialogue. If you're a manager, if you manage properties or co-host, however you want to call it, you sure as hell better use it in your sales pitch. Hey guys, I am a member of this RT. I am a member of this. I do this and I do stay on top of that. And that's what qualifies me to be the manager of your property. That's what qualifies me to be the professional operator of your property, right? I think that's all really important. So, Julie, I really appreciate you. This is such an important dialogue in our topic, and just how I ended the revenue management one, where it's like when you think you got it figured out, it's going to change tomorrow. So does this. So stay on top of it, keep in touch, and everybody just really dial in. All right. With all of that said, let's give Julie a huge round of applause and a thank you.
Thank
And
you. Thank
now
you, everyone.
you're very welcome. Now we get to go have the part of these conferences where we drive so much value and we get to shake hands, kiss babies, and network with each other, exchange phone numbers, topics, all those things that when you were in a topic earlier or in a presentation today or last week, and you said, I really want to go talk to that person about that one specific thing, whether it's Julie about this or John about revenue or Jonathan Wicks or whoever it might be, go sit at a table with them in this networking event and really soak up the relationships, soak up the time, soak up the personal time. So excited to get you guys there. And then we got one more day, so bring the energy back tomorrow. I can't wait. Let's give Jody Odlin another round of applause for putting on such a hell of an event with amazing people. Can we do that one more time? Let's go. All right. Awesome. I'll see you guys at the networking event. Peace out. See you in a little bit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.